Hello, Ian Anderson-Gray here for the Confident Live Marketing Podcast. Very excited today because this is this the fourth? No, this is the third episode that I'm going to be recording today. So thanks for joining me, whether you're watching the replay or if you're watching us live. It's great to have you here. So I have done 2 episodes so far for the Confident Live Marketing Podcast. I'm really excited about this. It's been going really, really well. And if you are watching this for the first time, just to explain what's happening, I am going to be switching on a live stream to LinkedIn Live shortly. So I'm going to be going live to Facebook and LinkedIn. But the main reason for this is for me to record this for the podcast, which will be this episode will be going out this Friday, I think. So that's great. And today we're going to be talking about how to warm up your voice and communicate with your audience with confidence, which is one of the things that I'm really passionate about. So I'm really excited that you can be here. So just give me a second and I'm just going to put on LinkedIn Live and I'll be with you in 1 sec. Hello! We're live to LinkedIn, we're live to Facebook. My name's Ian Anderson-Gray, and today I'm going to be recording episode 3 of the Confident Live Marketing Podcast, which is going out this Friday. The tech is working. My computer is over there streaming to LinkedIn. This computer is streaming to Facebook. I've got my computer over here, which is actually my monitor over there, which is recording to Audition for the podcast. And I've also got my little Stream Deck over here. So that's very exciting. Right, what am I doing today? So today, just to recap, if you just joined us on LinkedIn Live, I'm going to be talking about how to warm up your voice and communicate with your audience with confidence, which is really important. It's one of the things that I'm really passionate about because I trained as a professional singer and I love performance, I love singing. It's one of the things that I think we miss out on doing before we go live, before we speak, before we do any kind of podcast. We're using our voices, and so we should be really using them to the best of our ability. And so warming up the voice, I think, is really, really important. Anyway, right, while I'm just dealing with the tech, I'll just put this on and I'll see you in a little second. Right. Not sure the tech's working. I'm supposed to be on LinkedIn and Facebook, but the LinkedIn service doesn't seem to be working. So just give me a second while I just work this out. If it's not going to work, it's just not going to work, is it? So let's have a look. Posts. Well, if you're watching them on LinkedIn, hello. But it doesn't seem to be. Oh, there we go. It might be working now. Let's see. It says I'm live on LinkedIn. So let's have a look. I don't normally do this. I don't normally test out the tech, but LinkedIn Live is still pretty new. And I just want to make sure it's working. So if you are watching on LinkedIn Live, if you could leave me a comment, that'd be great. I'm basically getting this at the moment. Oh, there we go. Hello. So at the moment with LinkedIn Live, I'm going live on Wirecast on my wife's PC computer, which is very exciting over here. But for some reason, it seems to be shutting down after about 3 or 4 minutes. It says there was an API issue, or certainly that was the problem before. So let's hope this lasts. Let's hope this lasts. Okay, Right, to recap, what I'm going to be doing today is recording episode 3 of my Confident Live marketing podcast. I'm going to be going live with that, or I'm going to be publishing it, is the word, this Friday. So if you are not already subscribed to that, then just go to your favorite podcasting app and search for Confident Live Marketing Podcast, or just go to iag.me/podcast. iag.me/podcast, and I'd love you to have a listen and see what you think. But today I'm going to be recording it, and if you want to get involved, then just leave a comment either on LinkedIn or on Facebook, and I will get back to you at the end. Alex Curtis is here, not jealous at all that you can go live on LinkedIn. And we've got Gary Stockton. Hi, IAG. Hi to you. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Alex, but hopefully it will come soon. Do not worry. But at the moment, the tech doesn't always seem to work. Looking over there, and it seems to be okay so far. So keep the comments coming. I'm going to be setting up the recording now, and I'm going to be talking about how to warm up your voice and communicate with confidence. So I'm just going to fire up. There we go. I think we're recording now. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's go for it. We've got Tish as well on Facebook. I can bring you in, actually, Tish. I can actually highlight your comments. I can't highlight LinkedIn Live comments, but I can highlight Facebook comments. So thanks for joining me, Tish. It's great to have you here. But I'm going to ignore the comments while I record the podcast most of the time. We'll see how we get on. Right. What am I doing? Here we go. Right. Let's do it.
This is the Confident Live Marketing Podcast. Confident Live Marketing Podcast with Ian Anderson Gray, helping entrepreneurs level up their impact, authority and profits through the power of live video. Gain confidence in front of the camera, confidence with technology, and confidence with the content and marketing.
Together, we can go live!
Hello, it's Ian Anderson Gray for episode 3 of the Confident Live Marketing Podcast. I'm so excited that you are listening to this. And if you're watching me live on either LinkedIn or Facebook, it's great to have you here. If you want to be involved, if you want to watch any of the live shows, then all you need to do is follow me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/iag.me. That's IAGDOTME. So today, I'm going to be talking about how to warm up your voice and communicate with confidence. If you think about it, we're using our voices all the time in live video, but we tend to focus a lot on the video, on how we look. We tend to forget about how we sound. And so in this podcast episode, I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to warm up your voice, how to improve your diction, how to communicate much more with confidence, and also things like posture and that kind of thing. So I'm really excited about talking to you about that. But also just wanted to share with you what I've been up to over the past few weeks. It's been a bit of a mad few weeks, it has to be said. I've been, or certainly last month, I was in Poland, Slovenia, and the US as well. That was back in. Was that back in April? That was back in April. But then a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking in London at Chris Ducker's Upreneur, or the mid-year mastermind Upreneur event that Chris Ducker puts on. And I was speaking there about how to level up your impact and authority using live video. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today, I did talk about at that event, but I'm going to be going into more detail today about how to communicate with confidence using your voice. So that's great. Now, if you are listening for the first time, or if you've been listening only for the last couple of episodes, then do go back right to the beginning and listen from the beginning, because I give a lot of an introduction about me and what this podcast is going to be all about. So do go back and listen to that. And I would love it if you could go to iTunes. I know iTunes isn't going to be around for that much longer, but go to iTunes or the Apple Podcasts app if you're listening in the future, and do give me a rating. Give me, if you can, give me a 5-star rating. That'd be amazing. But this is a new podcast, and one of the ways of this being discoverable is by leaving a review and sharing it out with people. So I would love that. That would be absolutely amazing. So, yes, this is the 3rd podcast episode. I'm really excited to announce next time about a sponsor. I've already mentioned that on some of the live shows, but I'm not going to tell you any more information about that until the next episode. So, it's time to get into the main segment. So, why is this important? Why is your voice? Why is your posture? Why do I keep going on about this in my talks and in my content? Well, I think there are so many reasons why this is important. If you warm up your voice, if you warm up your voice and you create a much better posture, if you improve your posture, then you're going to speak with much more confidence. Your voice, you're not going to lose your voice. You're going to get the best production of your voice you can. And it's definitely something you could consider by doing warming up exercises every single day. Now, there are loads of things to think about here, but the main elements when it comes to your voice and using your voice confidently and effectively is posture, relaxing your muscles in your body, breath control, pitch interest, and diction. And we're also going to talk about heightened authenticity. What on earth is that? Well, I'm going to share all about that. But we do this because we want to do our best. We want to communicate with confidence. We don't want to lose our voice. We don't want to speed up. We don't want to sound boring. That would be the worst thing in the world. We'd have people just not bothering to listen to us because we sound boring. And unfortunately, I have heard a lot of podcasts and seen a lot of live videos where people just sound boring or don't sound confident. So I'm going to be sharing with you today some tips on how to improve that. Now, if you are listening for the first time, just a bit of a background on me. I have been involved with technology and social media and content marketing in general for getting on to 10 years now. And I've always been involved with technology and building websites and that kind of thing for even longer than that. But back in the day, I trained as a professional singer. I read music at university, and then I trained at the Royal Northern College of Music. So I was singing in opera on stage. I was performing. I was taught how to communicate with confidence. And actually, right from when I was a wee boy, I was performing on stage, whether it was singing or on the cello. Now, you might think, well, it's easy for you, Ian. You're really confident. You're going live on Facebook and LinkedIn. Yeah, and it is still working. I've just checked. But, for me, I don't have that confidence. I'm a little bit shy, or I just don't have that energy in my voice. Well, the thing is, I would describe myself as I was definitely describe myself as an introvert. I am quite shy, and this doesn't always come naturally to me, or it hasn't always come naturally to me going live on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever other platform. It's something that I've had to work at. But my background in performance has really, really helped me here. And I know it's going to help you too. So if you're watching live, if you've got any questions, please put it in, just ask away, and I will get back to you either during the show or afterwards. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is posture. Posture. Now, ideally, you should be standing up when you're doing any kind of podcast recording or live video. It's not always possible. Depending on the kind of live show that you're doing, you may want to have a slightly more informal feel where you're sitting on the sofa, that kind of thing. Or maybe sometimes you're walking out and about. But for me, at the moment, I'm standing in front of my microphone and my camera, and I've really worked at my posture because my posture is so important. If you're sitting down, then you can still concern yourself with your posture. So one of the things that you can do is just to warm up the body before you get into thinking about your posture and thinking about going live. if you go to the gym, any of the kind of warming up exercises that you do at the gym will really help here. So one of the things that I tend to do is I'll wiggle my arms like this, just shake out any kind of tension. I'll wiggle my legs as well, and then I'll jump up and down just to really make sure that all parts of my body, all the muscles are nice and relaxed. And then I do some stretching exercises just to wake my body up. And actually, this will have the effect of waking your voice up too, before you've even uttered a sound. So I'll stretch up to the ceiling for 7 seconds. So I'm going to, if you want to follow me at home or wherever you are, if you're driving, then do not do this, obviously. But if you want, you can follow me with this now. So I'm going to stretch up to the ceiling for 7 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then again, shake your arms out, shake your legs out, jump up and down. And you can do another exercise in between these, which I'll come on to in a bit. But we're just going to focus at the moment on posture and stretching your body. The next way is just to stretch forwards for 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're just stretching your arms forward there. If you want to do a big yawn, you can. Just to really make sure you're all relaxed with your upper body. And then shake your arms out, shake your legs out. That's great, fabulous. And then finally, stretch backwards, sticking your chest out and your shoulders down. So let's count to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Shake your arms and your legs and jump up and down. So that is going to really help you get relaxed and get your posture sorted. Now, the Italian school of opera and music and singing, I should say, quite a few hundred years ago, talks about the noble position. So the noble position is really you looking confident. It is standing with your shoulders down, your chest erect, and looking confident. If you stand looking a bit shy, you're not feeling confident, then what tends to happen is your shoulders go in and you kind of retreat into yourself. You hide. You're actually putting a bit of a barrier between you and your audience. Even if it doesn't look like it, you're putting a barrier. And so what we're really looking for here is to allow yourself to be totally vulnerable to your audience. So you're letting it all hang out in a sense. Your shoulders are down, your chest is out, your arms are down, just let them dangle. So a good way of doing this is, first of all, imagine you are a king or queen, you're royalty, and you're looking very proud. Then put your arms out at your side, and then just let them fall with gravity, okay? And make sure that your head is straight ahead and you're looking out over your domain, if you know what I mean. You're looking at your subjects, which actually, in the case of your live video, are your audience. You're looking through the camera at your audience. So that's going to really help you with your confidence, getting that noble position. So once you've done that, we then need to make sure that we get rid of any kind of tension in your body, because tension in the upper body, particularly in the shoulders and the neck and the chest, can really affect your voice. It can tighten things up and actually put a lot of pressure on your larynx, on your vocal cords. And you may find that you lose your voice very easily. It also means that your voice, you're not using it in the best way. So your voice can sound a little bit strained. It can make it sound like a bit more difficult for people to hear what you're saying. It can alter the pitch of your voice. So we want to really make sure that your upper body is nice and relaxed. So I like to do some massaging exercises. So again, if you want to follow me at home or wherever you are, as long as it's not the car, then you can do that. So what I want you to do is take your left hand and put it on your right shoulder. And I want you then to look over to your left. So what we're doing here is you're stretching your neck and you're stretching your arm, and we're also going to be massaging your shoulder. So if you do that, look over to your left, and then you're giving your right shoulder a massage, getting rid of any of that kind of tension. So once you've done that for about 10 seconds, then you can swap it around. So now I'm going to take my right hand onto my left shoulder, and look over to my right. So I'm stretching my neck and I'm giving my left shoulder a bit of a massage here. And I can tell you that I am actually feeling quite tense in my upper body. I don't think I've been sitting very well in front of the computer today. And so I've already got quite a lot of tension there. The next thing that you can do is just relax the back of the neck. So what you can do here is just drop your head slightly, look to not quite to the floor, but just look down, and then taking your hands, rub up and down with your fingers and thumbs on your neck. And you might want to close your eyes when you're doing this just to relax. So you're just getting rid of any kind of tension in your neck. Just pass your fingers and thumbs up and down like that. And while you do this, you might find that you yawn. So you can do a bit of a sigh. Now, the next thing that you can do is then just pass your fingers and thumbs downwards, just stroking your neck like this. Just getting rid of any kind of tension there. Another yawn. Big sigh. Good. Now, the next thing that you can do is, there are many names for this. I call it a spinal drop exercise, which sounds a bit painful, but I'm not going to be able to demonstrate that properly if you're watching this, but I'll explain what it is. Basically, what we're doing here is, and if you've done Pilates before, you may recognize this. So what we're going to do is just basically tilting our body over, but it's starting from our head, our neck, and then our shoulders, and then vertebrae by vertebrae, we're going to be curling over towards the ground until our hands are either touching the floor or our feet, or getting close to it. I mean, I can't actually touch the floor. I'm not that flexible. So the idea with this is that you close your eyes first of all, and then you tilt your head forwards, and then your shoulders then start to tilt forwards as well, as if there's like a tractor beam sucking you into the ground. And then your upper back tilts over, your middle of your back, and then you just vertebrae by vertebrae tilting down towards the ground. Now, once you get to the ground, make sure you do that really slowly, by the way. Then just stay there for maybe 10, 15 seconds. Concentrate on your breathing. And then you do the opposite. So you're then going back into an upright position, but you're doing it as slowly as possible. So the bottom of your back first, and then vertebrae by vertebrae, they come into place, followed by the shoulders, then the head. Very, very slowly. It's important that this is slow. Tilts up to the top, and then in your own time, you can then open your eyes. Now, once you've done that exercise, you may feel a little bit tired. You may feel as if you'd just woken up in the morning. That's good. It's kind of like a reset exercise. So once you've done that exercise, you may then want to repeat some of those warm-up exercises that we've done, such as the stretching exercises, and again, just doing some of the massages on your shoulders. So let's then reset the body again. So let's put our hands right into the air, and then just let them fall down with gravity to either side of you. And you should now feel quite confident and ready to get on with your live broadcast. That's posture. Now, if you're going to be sitting down, then make sure you sit down with as straight a back as you possibly can, because that's going to be really helpful for your breath control, which we're going to talk about as well. Breath control is really, really important. And lots of other things that we're going to talk about too. So hopefully all that makes sense. Those are the first kind of exercises you should do, all to do with warming up the body and looking at posture, and also relaxing those muscles, particularly in the upper body. So the next stage, we're going to look at breath control. Breath control. I see this a lot, that people, when they're speaking, particularly on podcast or live video, they get a bit nervous and they end up speaking really quickly and they get out of breath. They're taking these quick breaths in like this, and they end up, it almost sounds like they're hyperventilating. What's really important here is that you control your breath, that you breathe in slowly and efficiently, and you're expanding your lungs. The problem that we have as human beings is that, or as adults, that we've forgotten how to breathe. I know that sounds really silly, but as babies, if you look at a baby breathing, they breathe in really efficiently. You can see their lungs expanding and contracting. You can see that movement very, very obviously. But as we get older, we kind of subconsciously realize that we don't necessarily have to do that. We can get away with another type of breathing, which is a lot lazier, really. And that's basically what we do. We decide that we don't need to breathe in into the sides. We can just breathe in very, very shallowly, whatever the word is. We can breathe in a much more shallower way. Hopefully that makes sense. So what you need to think about here is breathing into the lungs, using the diaphragm muscle to really regulate that breathing. So how do we do that? Well, it's a bit tricky, but it's something that you can do with practice. So what I want you to do is just put your hands just below your bottom rib to the kind of fleshy bit there. And I want you to press in quite firmly with your thumbs at the back and your fingers at the front. And what I want you to do then is to breathe in very slowly into your hands so that your lungs expand. Now, if you do this and you're not used to this, you probably won't feel much expansion at all. But if you do, that's great. And you may feel a bit of expansion at the back too. So when you breathe in now, I want you to make sure that we don't really hear that breath. If you do this, then that shows that you're really tensing the back. That you're tensing and you're actually kind of lowering the soft palate, which is the kind of the roof of your throat or the roof of your mouth at the back, if that makes sense. So imagine you're really shocked or amazed at something and you're just taking a big intake of breath, but make it as quiet as possible. So like this. Now you might have heard a bit of a breath there, but it wasn't as much as like that. So that's really important. So what we're going to do now is you're going to put your fat hands just below the bottom rib, and you're going to take a big breath in, and then you're going to let it out to a v sound. So this is v. It doesn't matter what the pitch is. We're just going to let it out for 3 seconds. So I will do it first, and then you can then do it with me. So breathing in. So that's all it is. Very, very simple. If you're doing this and there are other people in the room, they may give you strange looks, but that's okay. So let's do it. So after 2, you then take a nice big breath in and then let it out slowly to a v sound, making sure that you're breathing in to your hands. So here we go. Breathe in. 1, 2. Excellent. So that's the first one. So that's only 3 seconds. We're going to extend that now to 6 seconds. Okay, so again, breathing into your hands, and then we'll let it out slowly for 6 seconds. And what's really important here is that you regulate your breath as it comes out. So don't just let it all out. You let it out slowly. A bit of a tip here is to imagine actually the opposite is happening. Imagine that your lungs are actually expanding with air as you breathe out. I know that's not what's happening, but psychologically, this is really going to help you. And this was going to create a lot more strength in your abdominal muscles, but also with your diaphragm and your breath control generally, which is really, really important. So we're going to breathe in. I'll count to 2, breathe in, and then we're going to do the v sound for 6 seconds. So here we go. Breathe in. 1, 2, breathe in. Excellent. So if we had more time, we'd then do it for 9 seconds. And if you can do it for even longer than that, that's great. But if you can't, don't worry. This is a strengthening exercise that you can do every day. And if you don't have to do it to v, you could do it to an F sound or a hissing sound. It doesn't really matter. There's lots of ways you can do this. You could do it to a sound, but I think v is quite a good one to do it to. So that's breath control. And if you can end up doing it for 20 plus seconds, that's really, really good. You can have a So by the way, this is all to do, if you've just tuned in, this is all to do with improving, warming up your voice so that you can communicate with confidence, whether that's on live video, on a podcast, or just public speaking. And we've been looking at breath control. We've also been talking about keeping a nice open throat as well, which is really important, and posture, and just physically warming up your body too. So I could talk a lot more about breath control, and I actually will be bringing in as guests some fabulous people who know a lot more about this than me. They've been teaching people all about how to use their voice efficiently and effectively. And there's actually an app that they have produced. I'm not going to tell you anything more about them. I'm going to surprise you about this. But there is an app called 1 Minute Voice Warm-Up. And it's available for Android and iOS. And it goes through a lot of these exercises every single day. So hopefully you can use this podcast episode as a warming up exercise that you can do every day. But also there is this app. It's not free. It's about $2 or $3 or pounds or euros, but it's a really, really good app that I highly recommend. Voice warm-up, 1 minute voice warm-up. Okay, so we talked about posture, we talked about relaxing, we talked about breath control. The next one is pitch interest. Now, this is really important because I wonder whether you have watched a live video or someone speaking or listen to a podcast and the person speaks like this and they just don't change the pitch of their voice at all, and it sounds like they're speaking on a monotone, and it sounds really quite boring. There's just no passion in their voice. Now, if we analyze what I've just done there, it's the fact that I'm staying on one pitch. I don't know whether you've realized this, but when we speak as humans, we change the pitch of our voices. We can go down and then we can go up. And when we ask a question, in the English language at least, we tend to go up at the end of the sentence like that. We ask a question. But it's the same with our voices. We want to add a bit of excitement to our voices. Sometimes we may want to go quietly like this, and just before we're about to say something really exciting like this, and to make it just a bit more interesting. So in order to use the low and the high parts of our voice and to just increase that range, really, a pitch, there's an exercise called the Lip Trill Exercise, which is a bit silly, but it's a way to really energize your voice and get you to use the lows and the highs. And it's not really to do with singing, although singing can really help. So if you do like singing, then by all means do a bit of singing. But the Lip Trill Exercise is just getting the lips nice and relaxed, like that. So if you can do that, that's great. If you can roll your R, I can't really roll my R very well, but it doesn't really matter. The point of this is to do a glissando from the bottom of your voice up to the top. So basically like this. So you're going from the low to the high part of your voice. So you're going to use a much wider range in this than you will do when you speak, but we're just getting your voice used to changing the pitch a little bit more. So let's try that together. I'm going to count to 2, go from the low to the high, and then down again. So after 2, 1, 2. And if you can go even higher than that, higher than me, that's great. So great exercise, and you can actually incorporate that when you're doing the stretching exercises that we did at the beginning. So you can stretch up to the ceiling, wiggle your arms and legs, and then do one of those lip trill exercises. If you're feeling very musical, then by all means you could do some vocal exercises like la 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 la. It doesn't have to be in a particular pitch. That was completely all out of tune. But if you want to be to do it in more of like a scale, you could go la like that. But it really doesn't matter unless you're actually going on stage and singing. All we're interested in here is just really using the voice from a speaking point of view. So those are some really fun exercises just to get your voice more energized and using different pitches in your voice. So that's pitch interest. Diction. So diction is all to do with getting the words out really clearly. And what is important here is just, first of all, to start speaking slowly. Start practicing speaking slowly and really enunciate the words that you're using. over time, you can speed that up and make sure that you're not stuttering over those words. First thing I want you to think about are clear vowel sounds. So a great way to practice here is to look at the Italian vowel sounds, or more of an Italianate type of vowel sounds, which is a, e, o, u. So a is really nice and bright. Is still quite bright. E is a closed vowel. O. So basically, making sure that your mouth shape is really over the top here, because I'm not going to get you to speak like this, but we're just really using our mouth shape, and we're using our tongue and our lips to really produce this sound. So it's a, e, o, u. A, e, o, u. So you almost sound a bit like a didgeridoo. And you can actually do some really cool things with harmonics and all that kind of stuff, which we're not going to talk about today. So that's a really good exercise. And again, you can incorporate some pitch into this. Again, you're going to get some strange looks from people if they're in the vicinity, but these are really good exercises to do. So that's vowel sounds. Now, consonants, you can have some fun here. So just get some consonants together, like gada, 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 gada. And you could then go from the low to the high. So gada, 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 gada. Then bada, 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 rada, 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 rada. And just so basically what you're doing here is you're using your lips and your teeth and your tongue to just produce these sounds. So, and you can come up with some tongue twisters and things like that. Now, I've come up with some silly songs as well. If any of you have come to some of my talks, I have a couple of different songs. One of them is Daddy's Got a Head Like a Ping Pong Ball. And this is really good because daddy is, you're using your quite explosive sounds with your tongue. Da, 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 da. And it's just quite fun. And let's face it, we want to have a bit of fun when we do live video, I think. So it's good to start with a bit of a smile. So the tune is, and it doesn't have to be in tune, but it is the William Tell Overture. This is the kind of horsey song. This is and it goes like this. Daddy's got a head like a ping pong ball. Daddy's got a head like a ping pong ball. Daddy's got a head like a ping pong ball, like a ping pong ball. So make sure that it's really, really clear here. Da 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 da. Daddy's got a head. Daddy's got a head. Daddy's got a head like a ping pong ball. Daddy's got a head like a ping pong ball. Daddy's got a head like a ping pong ball, like a ping pong ball. And then practice that again quicker. Doesn't really matter. You can come up with other songs out there, similar ones or tongue twisters. The pitch, again, doesn't really matter, apart from the fact that you're using the low and the high parts of your voice just to kind of create a bit of interest there. So some diction exercises there. And that brings me on really to my final couple of points towards the end here, which is vocal health. So if you are just before you speak, it's a good idea to avoid things like dairy, alcohol, coffee, those kind of things, because depending on you, we're all different. But I find for myself, if I have dairy before I speak, it clogs up my throat, and I find also fizzy drinks. I don't drink any fizzy sparkling soda drinks like Coca-Cola anymore. But when I did, it tended to clog up my throat, and it wasn't great for me. You may be completely different, but I tend to avoid those things. Good things to do before you speak are hot drinks like hot tea, or avoid coffee if you can, but tea or a hot water with a slice of lemon is always good. Those kind of drinks, they warm up your voice, they hydrate you most importantly. So drink lots and lots of water. That's really important. And if you can, avoid alcohol, avoid those kind of things. Not talking about all the time here, but just certainly before you speak. Really, really important. So hope that's been helpful to you. If you've got any questions, then by all means, email me. My email address is ian@iag.me. And I'd love to hear from you. If you've got any extra tips, if you've got any vocal exercises, any strengthening, any relaxing exercises, body warm up, then I'd love to hear from you. But as I say, I will be getting some very exciting guests on the show to go into more detail. And we'll cover this again in the future if you are interested, if you find this really helpful when it comes to any kind of public speaking, whether it's live video, podcasting, or up on stage. But I will see you very soon. Do go to my website for the podcast page, iag.me/podcast, where you can see how to subscribe on all the different platforms out there. And as I said at the beginning, if you could leave me a review on iTunes or on Apple Podcasts, if you're listening in the future, that would be wonderful. It'd be great for this podcast to go out to more and more people around the world, because my passion is to help people to level up their impact with live video confidently, because there are so many people out there that are just scared of pressing that go live button, and they've got a message to share. So I will see you next week for episode 4. It is episode 4. Had to think about that. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Confident Live Marketing Podcast with Ian Anderson Gray. Be sure to join the community at iag.me, where you can continue to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of live video. And until next time, toodaloo.
Fab. There we go. So that's the podcast recording done, which is very exciting. And we've got quite a few comments. I don't know whether LinkedIn is working. In my room, the Wi-Fi is just pretty much non-existent. And on my phone, it looks like I've gone a bit weird. But maybe it's working. I don't know. Anyway, we've got loads of comments, I think. So yeah, apologies I couldn't get to the comments during it. Sometimes I will get to comments while I'm doing the podcast recording, but I just really want to focus on delivering it. There's quite a lot of things going on at the same time. So first of all, on Facebook, Tish was, I don't know whether you're still here, Tish, but you said, hope you're well. I'm doing really well. Really excited. I'm excited to do quite a few episodes this week. I'm not going to be batch recording these usually, but this week I'm going to be doing a bit of batching with recording the podcast, because I want to get quite a few under my belt over the next for the next couple of weeks. But I hope you're doing well. Let me know what you're up to as well. And we've got Bonnie Frank here. Got lots of lovely, friendly faces here. Great to have you, Bonnie. How are you doing? We'd love to know what you're up to at the moment. And you say, OMG, I didn't know you were a singer. Glad I caught this. Yeah, I do talk about this, but I wonder whether I've talked about this enough, because it's certainly something that differentiates me. And I think it's something that actually I can bring a lot of my expertise as a singer and as a performer into the area of live video as well. So, yeah, there we go. Thanks. Yes, Tish says, great information. I hope that has been really useful. If you've got any questions, then let me know. And Bonnie says, this reminds me a lot of yoga. Now, that's interesting, because when I was at music college studying to be a professional singer, there was a little bit of yoga in there. There was a lot of Pilates. And I think there are a lot of similarities between Pilates and yoga. So I will be getting on a yoga expert. I will be getting on a Pilates expert, because I believe this is really, really important to help with our delivery and to be really, really confident. Yes, the app. I was hoping in the show to be able to bring it in and highlight that on the screen, but I'm having a bit of a tech problems. For some reason, I can't bring on my iPhone screen onto the live. I think I need to refresh or reboot my phone or something like that. So yeah. Thanks, Bonnie. Yes, I'm really, really pleased that this is helpful stuff. Oh, we've got Mike Alton as well. I don't know whether you're still here. Mike has the best voice out there. If you don't know Mike Alton, you need to check out his page. He's got quite a his blog. What's it called? Again, there's the Social Media Hat is one of his, which is one of his blogs, and he's got a Facebook page. And is it Blogging Brutes? I think that's what it is. Blogging Brutes. Check out Mike Alton, but he's got the most amazing, rich, deep bass voice. He says, my best voice is when I have a cold. Well, that's interesting, because I think what you mean by that is that your voice is lower. And I find this, when I've got a cold, I'm such a sound musician. I actually go to the piano and check how low I can go. And one day I got a bottom G, which is ridiculous, if that means anything to you. So Yeah, I think actually this app and these exercises I've been giving will really help you there, but also just vocal health generally. I find, yes, in the morning my voice is lower, and if I have a cold my voice is lower, but yeah, there are things you can do to really improve your voice. So any other looking again on Facebook, I will get back to you LinkedIn people in a bit. Brendan Burchard does tapping prior to go on stage. Rachel Hollis has a routine, but less formal. Yeah, I would love to hear, what is your routine before you go live? Tapping, do you mean tap dancing, or what do you mean? Or I'd love to know a little bit more about that. Great, so that's fab. That's fab. Thank you so much for all those fabulous comments, everybody. And on LinkedIn, the problem I've got on LinkedIn is the Wi-Fi. Let's see if I can bring them in. I can see that lots of people are watching, but I can't actually see the comments. What I'm going to do, I'm going to be really unprofessional here, and I'm going to just load it up on my computer because my mobile app is being a little bit dodgy. So any questions on vocal health or vocal warm-up or physical warm-up, I'd love to hear from you, and whether you think this would be useful to do in the future as well. Okay, this is good. I think, is this working? So yeah, Gary's here. Bartek is here. Hi Bartek. It was great to see you in Poland a few weeks ago. So this was at the In Orbit conference, which is one of the biggest tech conferences. Mark, hello Mark. Jade is here. Jade Pockerson Hill. Great to have you. David Killerly's here. Unfortunately, I can't bring your comments on the screen just because LinkedIn Live isn't that way. Yeah, you have to pick up your daughter, so we'll have to catch this later. So you can either watch it later on LinkedIn or on Facebook, which is great. Matt Sarson's here. And Steve Phillip, great tips. You say it's a bit like watching The Green Goddess or Mad Lizzie on breakfast TV in the 80s, if you say so. Anyway, I think that's it. I've got another live show after 5 o'clock UK time today, and I'm going to be talking about live video tools. So as I said before, I'm not normally going to be batch recording, but today I just want to get two broadcasts and 2 podcasts done so that I can get them into my setup. So I will see you all very soon, and thank you so much for watching, everybody. It's been great to have you. So I will see you very soon. Bye.